Hello, everybody. Today I would like to talk about navigating the 21st century learner and the challenges that we as educators face in today's day and age. So, first and foremost, why is it necessary to make some changes? Currently, statistics are showing that over 75% of public schools in the US utilize a hybrid model. So, in some shape or form, they're using the internet or technology in order to enhance instruction. On top of that, over 35 states offer approved virtual learning schools, giving students the flexibility and option to meet their needs. Going into adulthood, over 98% of universities offer online classes and 77% of US companies offer online learning. That's showing that we need to be preparing students now for an online environment, whether that be a career or some form of school or even into the military. There's still a disparity between high income and low income areas in terms of what technology is used and how often it is used. And then, of course, there's plenty of teacher concerns regarding the effectiveness, engagement, and support around technology and how to use it. So, in order to use it effectively, we need to train teachers on this. One of the one of the ways in which we can increase technology use is through the SAMR model. S stands for substitution, A stands for augmentation, M stands for modification, and R stands for redefinition. So essentially, the SAMR model was created in order to assist educators in the use and evaluation of technology in the classroom. So, how often they're using it, when they're using it, and even how they're using it. So substitution is the essentially the base phase of this model, and substitution is just simply replacing what's currently used with a similar functioning technology. So rather than students taking notes via pen and pencil, they might type it up on a Word document. Or again, rather than a traditional paper and pencil test, there may be an online test or quiz or even a written portion online for students to take. The next level is augmentation. So we're essentially just building and layering on. Augmentation is now using technology, but we're improving the functionality of something. So something like the Desmos online graphing calculator, it's more usable and user friendly for students, but it is still ultimately just a graphing calculator that students could use physically. Another way would be in order to add variation in a lesson is adding a video lesson in just to introduce some differentiation. The next level would be modification. So now we're actually redesigning the task. So rather than students doing math facts on a piece of paper, they could be using IXL, going through math facts, but in a slightly different way where students are actually answering questions and it's leveling up or down based on what the students need. Other options would be Khan Academy, Zoom, or Teams. Also, again, is enhancing and redesigning the way that we communicate in careers or education. And then lastly, the R standing for redefinition is the highest level essentially of the SAMR model. So we are completely creating a new task that otherwise without technology we wouldn't be able to do. So for example, something like Canva, of course, we did have presentations before, but now we are adding in different elements that can be used within Canva. iMovie students can create actual videos of a topic rather than creating just a simple presentation. And then, of course, GimKit adding in more features for teachers to use with their students. A visual of the SAMR model is this coffee making. So I think this really explains it well. So substitution is just at its base core, just a simple coffee maker. It's going to get the job done. Then augmentation, we're adding something in. So there's a bit of a functionality change here in that now we don't have the grounds in our coffee. We move up to modification and we still don't have grounds in our coffee, but now we're adding in more features that we didn't necessarily have before. So we can control our temperature, the amount that we're actually making, so on and so forth. And then lastly, redefinition being something like a Keurig would be where you can completely personalize your coffee, and that had never been seen or done before. So why do I think the SAMR model would be great for us? So There are multiple entry points for all comfort levels and abilities of teachers. So not every teacher needs to jump right into the redefinition phase. They can just start out at the base of substitution, or they can jump in at modification, wherever they feel comfortable. That's essentially a version of Bloom's taxonomy. So we're building on and layering on that technology and incorporating it more in depth. It encourages reflection on the part of the teacher. So now I need to sit here and think about, okay, how could I approach this in a slightly different way where technology is used and isn't going to be difficult for students to use? We're going to meet all learners' needs because our differentiation just automatically built in. And then, like we said previously, with 77% of careers using technology in some form, it's going to prepare our students for those long-term careers. The second model I would like to present to us today is the TPACK model. So again, TPACK does stand for something. It is an acronym, and essentially at its core, it is taking three different types of knowledge and blending them together to be a successful technology-driven education. So the T is going to stand for technological knowledge, or TK. This is just at its base, how to use the new and emerging technology. Then the P stands for pedagogical, PK. It's just effective teaching, good teaching skills and strategies. C for content, and again could be CK, and this is the knowledge of the subject. Now, the TPACK model starts to blend these together and you get different variations. So, the PCK would be pedagogical and content knowledge. So, now we're effectively teaching whatever our subject is. We have knowledge of our subject and we have those effective teaching skills. TPK is technological pedagogical knowledge. So, this is now effectively incorporating technology in our lessons. We're using good teaching skills, but we're using technology with it. Then lastly, we have TCK, and that is again technological content knowledge, where we are knowing how to use technology and how we would best use it within our subject. Ultimately, putting it all together would be the TPACK model, where all three elements, technology, pedagogy, and content, are blended together seamlessly, where students are getting effective lessons. So why do I think TPACK would be great for us? This is going to produce effective lessons for our 21st century learner. Again, we're blending three areas that are necessary for effective teaching and learning in today's day and age. Through this, we're more so focused on the teacher's perspective, so how the teacher is approaching the lesson, what knowledge they bring to the table, that then is going to support our students and their learning. And then, of course, we have variety and control over technology and how it's used. Similar to the SAMR model, teachers are able to decide when they want to use technology and how they're using it. Ultimately, though, I don't think we need to, per se, choose between the TPACK or the SAMR model. They both combined can bring together an effective technology integration in our classrooms. So the TPACK model, the focus is a bit more on overlap of knowledges, whereas the SAMR model could be seen as somewhat linear, but we're layering as we go, layering different features of technology. The TPACK model is overall use and the success of technology in the classroom, whereas the SAMR model is more about the in the moment adaptations and modifying technology for our learners. So, putting these two things together, knowing what your content is, understanding the content, how to teach well, and then blending with that successful technology use, we're going to ultimately have an enhanced learning model for all of our students. In order to introduce these two models to our staff, I believe we will need thorough and hands-on technology training. So teachers actually getting into just basic sources and websites, as well as more content specific. With that, of course, training to their specific platforms, whether that be iExcel, Dreambox, so on and so forth, whichever subject area is going to need additional training. We'll need to provide additional planning time for teachers in order to collaborate on the resources that they're using, talk it through, work out any errors or kinks that need figuring out individually. We'll need some form of technology plan. So for some campuses, we're 1-to-1, whereas others are 2-to-1. If it is not that many laptops, we would need to work out a plan for loaner carts or a computer lab. Another thing I would like us to do is provide pre-planned lessons or templates for teachers to use to make this more accessible for them and less on them. And then lastly, with all of this, we will need a support team in place to support these teachers as they are trying something new. Thank you all for your time.